We are going to be talking about a survey that's available related to recreation here in Summit County. And here to tell us all about it are Jim Canute, the Community Development Director at Summit County. Welcome, Jim.
Thank you.
And Scott Reed, the Director of Recreation for the town of Breckenridge. Welcome, Scott.
Thanks, Julie.
So Summit County and the towns of Breckenridge, Frisco, and Silverthorne are collaborating on a study to assess the need for and the feasibility of an indoor recreation complex or sports complex. So Jim, can you give us some background on what led to this needs analysis?
Sure. I think the community has been discussing this need for quite some time. Anecdotally, as a father of three, I can tell you that I've spent many practice and watched many a game in snowstorms, and have heard this myself numerous times about the need for some sort of indoor sports complex. Back in 2007, a study was done, the Summit County Athletic Field Needs Analysis, which identified a number of ideas for improvement of our current facilities, but also recommended moving in this direction toward really studying an indoor sports complex. So here we are,
Okay. So as these conversations have gone on through the years, what are some of the amenities and features that have come up as people envision an indoor sports complex or a field house, as some call it?
I think it's one of the challenges we have is that it's a different vision for everybody, and so I think you could put a lot of things in that space. Ideas that have been tossed around is an indoor turf space. So, field turf, as in for a lot of times for youth team sports, soccer, lacrosse. Some people talked about some hard courts. They talked about a track, talked about a variety of things, including a golf simulator or lots of other ideas. Batting cages. There are a number of things you could really focus on. So we've tried to keep it generic and sort of some of the discussions we've had initially in our needs analysis in terms of what is it that we need to get, if we really need this kind of facility, what does it look like? And that would be kind of getting to the next steps in the study. For now, it's a matter of, what is this thing? Is it necessary for our community?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so one of the things that I've heard so far is that the idea is that it would complement what is currently offered at the rec centers. Is that right?
Yeah, the idea isn't to duplicate our indoor facilities. We're analyzing what the people want that their needs are currently not being met. That's the idea here.
Okay, because certainly Summit County is great for all kinds of alpine sports that rely on snow and ice, but when it comes to April and all of the schools are out training for tennis and softball and everything else that happens outdoors in the spring, like you said, it can get a little chilly.
Yes.
So as part of the process to explore the need and the feasibility, what's taking place right now?
So we have, as a team, we've gotten together, and as you mentioned, it's a partnership among the county, the towns of Silverthorne, Breckenridge, and Frisco, and put out a mail-in survey to a percentage of Summit County voters to find out what their interests are what their level of interests are in terms of a field house. Would they use it? How far would they drive? How much, or how would they potentially, spend or pay for this kind of facility? Those were kind of the general questions to understand how much of a demand there is for this kind of a facility. Our next steps are really the second part of the sort of public input piece. The mail-in survey is more of a statistically valid survey of voters. And then we also have an online survey that's available to anyone to weigh in and just give their comments in terms of what they would like to see or what is valuable important to them or not important to them. So that's currently where we are now. That survey runs through November 15th.
Okay.
At which point we will gather that data and bring it together with some focus group data that we have where we've interviewed local youth teams and other advocates of youth sports or sort of sports in general within the community, and gather that data together, provide a report, which we will then bring to our respective elected leaders and then decide where we go from there.
Okay. And so you mentioned that November 15th is the deadline for this online survey that community members can take. And where can they go about finding the survey so they can take it?
Well, as a county employee, I'll tell you that you can find it on the Summit County website. Right on the front page, there's a button to click on, and you'll go right to the survey. And it's a very simple survey to take. I took it myself yesterday. Took about 2 minutes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It's also available via social media. The town of Breckenridge has links to it as well. So I think all of our collective agencies are pushing it to get as much input as we can, as many comments as we can get. It's helpful for us to sort of understand what the nature of this issue is.
Great. And so once you get the compiled responses back from the mail-in survey and the online survey, then what are the steps going forward from there?
Well, we're going to get together as a group and discuss the results of that survey first. Then we're going to present that information to our respective councils and county commissioners and kind of see where they direct us to go from there.
All right, excellent. So if people have questions about this overall process, where can they find some more information?
Well, they're welcome to call me. We'll start with me, and then we'll go down the line. Jim Kernut you can call me on my phone at 668-4203. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have, or jim.kernut at summitcountyco.gov.
Yep, I think any of the folks, myself, Scott Reed is available, Scott R at townofbreckenridge.com, and also Diane McBride at Town of Frisco, and Joanne Cook at in Silverthorne. So those are kind of the point folks for the staffs.
All right, fantastic. Well, thanks to both of you and the rest of our multi-jurisdictional team for looking into this interesting issue.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to talk about food safety in your kitchen around the holidays.